Hi artists, today in the art room you will be making paper. You will experience all the different stages of the paper making process. So let's start at the first station. Here you will be taking recycled paper that we have collected from the school and our community and start ripping it into smaller pieces. This is going to begin the paper making process before we turn it into pulp. Make sure that the pieces are small and not big like this. After this station, you will go to the paper pulp making station. Here is where we'll be making the paper pulp. Artists, we need to be really careful as we're using the blender at this station. So we need to be safe at all times. To use this, make sure that when the lid is off, the power is off. Here is the power strip that will give the power to the blender. So make sure the power is off before you take the lid off to make your paper pulp. Take 1 cup of the paper rippings, which you'll get from the paper ripping station. Put the paper in first into the blender, then 2 cups of water, which you will get at the sink. Pour the water on top, put the lid on, nice and tight. Then you will turn the power on. The power will be on when the red light is on. So switch it on, 1 hand on top, and then you will power on the blender. It's going to be a little loud. Here we go. Turn off the blender when the paper has been mashed up and is mixed throughout the water, creating the pulp. Then, turn the power off. When the power is off, the lid can come off. So, undo the lid. No need to take out the actual pourer, just lift it up. It has stickers on the bottom to keep it secure, and pour the pulp into the yellow tub. We'll use that pulp in the paper pulp making vat right over here. So after the paper pulp making station, you're invited to the lounge where you will look at some books that I have available for you and find which page you find paper making processes. Paper has been made throughout centuries in different civilizations, so see which civilizations made paper. Then you will actually get to make the paper. So swinging over here, you will find the paper making tub, the pulp in the bottom, your molded deckle, and felt. So I'm going to quickly show you what you will do at this station. I will be here to guide you along. So starting with the mold and deckle. This is the deckle and this is the mold. Stir the paper pulp up so it's suspended in the water. This is what you made at the other table. Then holding firmly the mold and deckle on top, mold and bottom, you will dive down, getting pulp and water sitting on top of the mold. Notice how the water is draining out the bottom and the pulp is remaining on the top of the screen of the mold. Once the water has drained as much as you can, start to hear the rain become less and less. Bring the deckle and mold to the table. Open up the deckle. You will be able to see the paper pulp sitting on top of the screen. Then, taking a piece of felt, we will transfer the sheet of paper to the felt in a process called couching. Lay the felt on top and allow the felt to start to absorb some of that water. Then, flip over the mold and deckle like a pancake. Take a sponge and begin starting to pull out the excess water and squeezing the water back into the vat. We're just trying to remove as much water as we can, as we'll need this to dry overnight. The more water we remove, the better. Then, if this works, we will slowly remove the mold and deckle, and the paper will have transferred and couched to the felt. Again, this is very wet, so we'll bring it to the drying rack and it will have a fan on it overnight to allow it to dry. The next day, the paper pulp will be dry, and we will then be able to peel off the sheet of paper. The last station you will go to, artists, is the station with the vocabulary words. As you heard of me just explaining, I used mold, deckle, paper pulp, all these vocabulary words that are revolved around the paper making process. So at this table, I want you to study the words, read the definitions, and come up with actions that will help us remember these vocab words. So there you have it. Those are all the stages that you will participate in the paper making process today in the art room.